Welcome back to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
It is Monday, October 21st, right around the corner. Coming up Saturday, November 2nd, is a lecture at Village Lutheran Church, part of the Village Lutheran Church lecture series, and excited to share that. In studio with us today, Deaconess Laura Jostes from Village Lutheran Church. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
Tell us a little bit about the lecture series. What is the purpose of the lecture series?
Okay, our mission board started several years ago to host a lecture series, bringing in people from different backgrounds just to talk about things happening in our culture, and then also bringing to bear our Christian outlook on that. I'm a deaconess. I was a deaconess intern a couple years ago, so I don't know the whole background on this whole lecture series, but I know it's been used both, I think, twice a year for the last several years. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of new to me too.
There's been some really interesting topics, some really high-profile guests too. That It's been
Molly Hemingway.
Mm-hmm, and it's been very well attended too by the community surrounding Village, which has been really, really interesting.
And so that's one of the reasons too is we wanted to invite people in our immediate community, have something that they can come to.
And continuing that tradition, the upcoming Village lecture on November 2nd, Dr. Stephen Saunders, professor and chairperson of psychology department at Marquette University, and regular guest here on KFUO. Dr. Saunders, thanks so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome. Pleasure to be here.
Excited to share the upcoming lecture that you'll be presenting at Village Lutheran Church on stress and anxiety in children and adolescents. What are the stresses that children and adolescents face today?
The stresses are the ones that everyone would think of. Any adult or parent who's dealt with a child or adolescent knows that there's always been a lot of stresses on kids. What is it that the kids are expected to do? They're expected to go to school. They're expected to, sit still and be quiet and study and do well. And they might be involved in sports and, things like that. Stuff that would sound very familiar to a lot of listeners who deal with kids and adolescents. I think, however, modern society, especially with the ubiquity, the inability to get away from social media has really added a new layer or level of stress to kids and adolescents. And I think we're seeing that in some research showing that kids, and especially adolescents, they feel more stressed than they have in the past. So I think what social media does, all of us who have a cell phone. I'm talking on my iPhone right now to you from the Milwaukee area. A lot of adolescents and, of course, most adults probably walk around with a cell phone in their pockets, and this is it's a miniature computer, but it's also a way for us to stay always connected with our friends, especially for adolescents. And so there used to be that we would have some time off after you get home from high school or from 8th grade, and you can sit and chat with your mom at the table at the kitchen and maybe have a snack and maybe unwind. And it's really difficult for kids to give themselves permission to do that nowadays because they're always, literally always connected to their friends, and they're always maybe trying to impress or hoping they're not making a bad impression. And so I think this, it's the constantness, the continuity, the inability to get away from, again, the term is social media. You're in the social sphere through social media. You're on display all the time, and it's really stressful for adolescents, especially young adolescents and even some older adolescents.
And if you're not social media-ing, you are thinking about the next time you're going to be social media-ing, at least in my millennial experience. So much of what we do and what we think about revolves around how am I going to share this with my friends the next time I'm on Facebook in 2 seconds, because I'm on Facebook all the time. How does that the constantness of social media affect children differently than adults, or that emotional awareness different between children and adults, and being able to cope with this always the constant presence on social media?
Well, one of it's a normal aspect. It's a normal part of adolescence. Adolescence is that long period, 6, 8, for some of us 25 years between childhood and adulthood. It's really a separate stage of life. In childhood, you rely on your parents. You trust your parents. You trust the adults around you. In adolescence, it's the stage where you are preparing to become your own minder. You're preparing to become an adult, to establish an identity. You establish what you like and you don't like. What do you want to do with the rest of your life? Do you want to marry? Do you want to have kids? What kind of career do you want? And so it's a normal aspect of adolescence to have a lot more focus on, a lot more concern about what other people think of you. And then when you leave adolescence, you sort of realize, wow, I was really over-concerned with what other people thought of me. They were mostly, you think to yourself as an adult, all of these people that I was so worried about what they thought of me, they were really mostly thinking about themselves, and they were going through their own stuff. So it's a normal part of adolescence. We've always had this. But now, again, with social media, the opportunity, if you would, almost, it's for some kids, it becomes an obligation for them to always be trying to do something to amuse or to entertain or to impress or to at least respond to their friends who are doing the same thing. So, again, it's the inability to get away with it, to get away from it, that is, which I think is really causing a lot of, mental health concerns and, sort of a constant feeling of stress. A lot of us remember, when we were in high school, there was, you felt kind of stressed a little bit, getting ready for school. Will this look okay? How do I fix my hair? Things like that, because you want to impress others. Well, now you can't get away from it. You have this computer in your pocket that keeps you connected all the time to your friends. So it's harder for them to do that, to cope with that. I mean, if you talk to adolescents, they'll tell you, the most I'm relaxed throughout the day is when I'm running cross country, because I can't carry my phone with me. And I can just be by myself, with a group of friends that are running with me, perhaps, with my coach. So being able to put it down, turn it off, is really important coping strategy that I think, adolescents, younger adolescents need to be encouraged to do, which is to just take a break from it, take a vacation from it every day. Certainly you don't want to take it to your bed, right? We don't want any adolescent taking their phone or a computer to their bed, because then they associate, they associate their bed with this stressful time. And then even when they turn it off or put it away or put it under their pillow, worst case scenario, it's still there, stimulating them to feel stressed and like they have to contribute something. So
with just
helping kids and adolescents think that it's okay to step away is really important, I think, nowadays.
Well, just about a minute left. What will we be equipped with? Attending this lecture on Saturday, November 2nd at Village Lutheran Church, what will we be equipped with as we listen and learn? What will we walk away with just about a minute?
Well, I want to try to communicate 3 things. The first is, what is anxiety and stress in adolescents and in kids, and how do you differentiate something that's fairly normal? As I said, some stress in adolescence is not just normal, it's almost necessary. So how do you distinguish between problematic and non-problematic? What does it look like? What are the causes of it? I just reviewed some of what I think the causes are. And then how do you help? How do you help kids with adolescence? How do you help sometimes And that involves, mental health first aid, just reassuring, encouraging, but also some mental health triage, which is maybe trying to distinguish between problematic and normal adolescent stress, and when you need to perhaps refer to a mental health professional to get some perhaps short-term care and help the person get through that, help the young adult or the kid get through that.
Dr. Stephen Saunders, professor and chairperson of psychology at Marquette University and presenter at the upcoming Village Lecture Series. Thank you so much, Dr. Saunders, for being our guest this morning on the Coffee Hour.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Deaconess Justice, what do we need to know about the upcoming lectures, how to get there? Do we need to register, anything like that?
There's no registration. We are going to be providing childcare, so if you are interested in this and have little ones, we do have very caring people to provide great care for your children. And we encourage moms, dads, teachers, principals to come join us. You can look at the website. Sarah, do you have that pulled up?
I have it on Facebook. There's a Facebook event.
We'll provide the link.
And we'll put links in.
Yeah, we'll put links with the program notes today as well. Deaconess Laura Jostes, thank you so much for being our guest on the Coffee Hour today. Upcoming lecture at Village Lutheran Church, Saturday, November 2nd, 2 to 4 p.m., right?
Yes,
very good.
That's correct.
Thanks for being our guest. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit KFUO.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@KFUO.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.